You aren't just private, and you aren't just selective. You are disappearing. Every day you spend in this curated silence, the version of you that exists in the minds of others is dying, leaving behind a ghost that only you can see. If you stay here, in this vacuum of your own making, your identity will eventually become a language that no one else speaks, not even you. You think you've built a fortress to protect your peace, but look closer at the walls. Is this a sanctuary, or is it a tomb you've been decorating from the inside? It starts as a relief. The phone stops vibrating, the social obligations evaporate, and for the first time in years, the noise in your head settles into a hum. You tell yourself this is growth. You tell yourself that the herd was just a weight dragging you down, a collection of shallow anchors. You celebrate the fact that you no longer have to perform, to mask, or to negotiate your needs with another human soul. But silence has a weight of its own, and it's heavier than the noise ever was. At first, you occupy your time with the things you actually like. You read, you work, you drift through digital landscapes where you are a spectator rather than a participant. You are the architect of a world with a population of one. But without the friction of another person, without the annoying questions, the differing opinions, the unexpected demands on your time, there is no mirror. Psychologically, we are social creatures not because we like the company, but because we require the witness. Without someone to see you, the edges of your personality begin to blur. Your jokes go unsaid and eventually unthought. Your grievances ferment because there is no one to vent them to. You become a closed system. And in physics, a closed system eventually succumbs to entropy. You are becoming a draft of a person that never gets published, a set of ideas that never meets the light of day. The silence isn't just around you anymore, it's starting to fill your chest. The danger of having no friends isn't the boredom. It's the slow, steady calibration of your brain to a frequency that no one else can hear. When you spend weeks or months without a deep, vulnerable exchange, your internal monologue stops being a dialogue with the world and starts being a trial where you are the judge, the jury, and the prisoner. You start to notice it when you are forced into brief, mandatory interactions. The grocery store clerk, a coworker, a delivery driver. You feel a strange lag. A delay between your thoughts and your tongue. You've forgotten how to pace your words to the rhythm of another person's breath. You find yourself oversharing, or more likely, withdrawing into a cold, mechanical politeness. You feel like a diver who has stayed underwater too long. The pressure of the surface world feels violent and loud. This is the tension of the descent. You start to see people not as potential connections, but as complications. Every person is a threat to the controlled environment you've built. You begin to pathologize the normalcy of others. Their laughter sounds performative. Their problems seem trivial. Their need for connection looks like weakness. You wrap yourself in a shroud of perceived superiority to mask the fact that you are losing the ability to belong. You aren't above it all. You are just drifting further out to sea, and the shoreline is getting harder to recognize. Eventually, the fortress becomes a cell. The independence you prized so highly begins to taste like iron. This is the stage where the psychological collapse happens, not with a bang, but with the quiet realization that you have become a stranger to yourself. When there is no one to challenge your narrative becomes a lie. You begin to obsess over small slights from years ago. You replay conversations that happened in a different decade, correcting them, perfecting them, winning arguments against ghosts. Because you have no new data, no new human input, your brain begins to recycle the old. It's a form of mental malnutrition. You are starving for the very thing you claim you don't need. You wake up one morning and realize that yourself has become a collection of habits rather than a living, breathing identity. You eat at the same time, walk the same path, think the same cynical thoughts. There is no spontaneity because spontaneity requires a catalyst, and you have removed all catalysts from your life. You are a clock ticking in an empty house. Even if the clock is perfectly accurate, it doesn't matter because no one is looking at it to check the time. The most disturbing part is the loss of empathy, not for others but for yourself. You become harsh, you become rigid. You lose the soft, forgiving edges that come from being loved by someone who knows your flaws. Without friendship, there is no grace. There is only the law of your own mind, and that law is often cruel. You are watching your own life happen from a great distance, like a movie you've already seen 1,000 times and are beginning to hate. The descent ends when you realize that the door to the world isn't locked from the outside. It's just that the hinges have rusted shut from disuse. You look at the people around you, the ones who are messy, connected, and vulnerable, and you realize they possess a currency you can no longer spend. They have the ability to be wrong, to be helped, and to be known. You have achieved the ultimate autonomy. No one asks anything of you. No one waits for you. No one worries about your silence, because they have finally accepted it as your natural state. You have won the war for your own space, but you are standing in a graveyard. This is the irreversible realization. You didn't find yourself in the solitude. You lost the context that made you you. The psychological consequence of absolute isolation isn't peace. It is the dissolution of the soul into a series of echoes. You are a person-shaped hole in the fabric of the world. But as you sit in this heavy, cinematic quiet, you notice something. The air is still moving. The world is still vibrating just beyond the glass. The fact that you feel this weight, this crushing, uncomfortable truth, means there is still a you left to feel it. The realization isn't meant to paralyze you, it's meant to burn. It's meant to make the coldness of your fortress unbearable. The door is still there. It's heavy, it's rusted, and it will scream when you try to move it. Beyond it lies the terrifying, exhausting, and beautiful noise of other people. You can stay in the dark where it's safe and empty, or you can step out and risk being seen for the ghost you've become. The cost of connection is your controlled, perfect silence. The cost of silence is everything else. The clock is ticking in the empty house. Are you going to let it run out?